They want to retire with no financial stress. Not everybody has a good day every day, at home or at work. So once people come to the office, hopefully it's an oasis. Hopefully we can have the ability to create a little beacon of hope for people that think they don't have anybody to discuss or ask the dumb questions people don't want to ask. We hopefully are providing a service that, can build relationships with customers for a long time. And I often tell customers to let them know, hey, today we're just going to visit. We're going to get acquainted. And our purpose is to try to be a resource for them. Now, that might be something that we have available that we can offer. It may be somebody in our network that we can refer you to. I'm going to be taking a holistic approach. Once they know that I sincerely am interested in what's causing them to be in my office today. You didn't just decide, hey, I've never been in that building. Let's go by there and visit with them. So what's your objective? What's your concerns? What are you trying to accomplish? What's causing you to lose sleep at night? We always want to reflect that positive mental attitude and that positive atmosphere that's going to be inviting and not intoxicating. So we want the atmosphere as people walk in to be something they're going to remember, and they're going to say, hey, you need to go visit these people. They're genuine. You know those times when you provide the service, you know that you just possibly financially secured that family for generations to come.
And good morning, Rogersville. Thanks for joining us once again here on K-ROG for Dollars and Cents. Welcome, Bruce Porter. Glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you, as always. So the big news yesterday was we've defeated inflation. The economy has fully recovered, and everything is fantastic. I saw the White House had James Taylor in. They had a big celebration because the economy is now perfect, thanks to them. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Nothing to worry about, folks.
I'll reserve the right to disagree.
Thought you might.
But, again, you know what they call a group of baboons?
I'll go ahead.
A Congress.
A Congress. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah.
Hey, look it up in the dictionary.
I'm sure that's true. Well, we know what, that con is the opposite of pro.
Yeah.
So the opposite of progress is Congress. There you go. Okay, there's your dad jokes for the day.
That's right. I mean, I lean conservative, and
you understand money. That tends
and I mean, I can balance a checkbook, I guess, but from my perspective, when I go to the grocery store, or, when I'm talking to folks, no, the economy is not perfect.
Well, and we know it's a dumpster fire, and we know why.
Well, we got an election coming up, so let the lies begin.
Yeah, well, it's insane. What you see now is people just holding up a red card and saying that's blue.
Yeah,
and just right in your face. So insane. What do you want to really talk about today, Bruce Porter?
Hey, this is Life Insurance Awareness Month, so I thought it might be a good idea to kind of dive into life insurance. There's a lot of marketing gimmicky stuff out here on the airwaves. And we've all seen those retired, beat down, crippled up, retired football players pitching life insurance on TV or Medicare. We can increase your Social Security. That's all gimmicky stuff.
Okay.
So I think we dive into it. I think you need to establish the need for life insurance. It has to have a purpose. So if you're contemplating buying life insurance because you're in debt, that's probably a good idea. Because, have you seen traffic lately? I mean,
oh my goodness.
Something happens and you're not here. I don't want to leave my surviving family with all my obligations and debt.
Yeah.
So debt reduction would be a good reason to consider life insurance. Income replacement, that's because the traditional family, you've got mom at home raising the kids, the CEO of the household. You got dad out, making some wages and bringing home the bacon, so to speak. Well, if something happens to mom, that's a huge burden on dad.
Right.
Dad can't quit work to raise children. He's going to have to hire that done. It's not really fair for us to pawn that obligation off to our family.
True.
Although our family, will step up and help.
Absolutely.
But we still need to be, mindful that, it's not their responsibility, it's ours. And daycare is very expensive. So, income replacement for mom is something that a lot of times is overlooked. And the emphasis is put on the spouse that is out working. Now, I do have some stay-at-home dads that are raising the children because mom has the more, professional career.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important to make, is just because one spouse maybe isn't, quote unquote, an income earner doesn't mean that they're not contributing to the value of the household. And therefore, if something happens to them, that value has to be replaced one way or another.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, income replacement is a huge deal. A lot of people ask, well, how much should I consider? Well, just a rule of thumb, take your annual income times 10. That gives you a starting point. So if you make $40,000, $50,000 a year, you probably need $500,000 worth of life insurance. If you're, typical family with a mortgage, the typical family nowadays, they got mortgage debt, credit card debt, 2 car payments, and they're wondering why they can't save money.
And a personal loan on the side of that.
Yeah, and a HELOC and all that. So I think, you take your annual income times 10, that's a starting point. Young family protection, if you're starting your family, if you have children, you need life insurance, period. That's just the end of that. So, use your income factor to calculate face amount, things like that.
Sure.
Now, I think also we need to talk about, how affordable life insurance is. You can go online on the internet, you can watch TV all day long, and buy units. I would caution you against doing that. It is more affordable than it used to be, but here's understanding why. Insurance companies are not in the business of losing money, right? So everybody says, well, gosh, I'll just buy term insurance because that's cheap. Well, it's cheap for a reason. Number one, the average age of a life insurance policy is about 7.5 years. So if you're going to buy whole life insurance, which is very expensive, and they, sometimes treat it as an investment, if you're going to do that, just know that on average, people keep that 7 years and drop it. So, maybe if you're just starting out buying life insurance, don't get sold a policy. You can establish how much you need doing a very simple exercise in your household. And then my recommendation is, put your toe in the water with some term insurance. Don't over-obligate yourself, because I see that a lot. People buy whole life insurance, most expensive, or they buy universal life. It's a better option. Or they buy term because they can buy a large face amount and it's inexpensive. Whole life builds dividends. It's a higher premium, and eventually 20, 30 years down the road, the dividends will pay for the policy.
I see.
That's the advantage of that. Now, universal life is right in the middle. It's a buy-term invested difference type concept. You have a side fund. It's either fixed, variable, or indexed. So universal life can be set up a variety of different ways. But typically you have life insurance with a side fund. The side fund builds value. And the idea there is it's flexible premium. So you can pay on that, not 20 or 30 years. You can pay on that 10 years, 12 years, 15, half the time, and then either lower your own payment or increase your payment or not pay at all. It's flexible, and you don't lose your insurance. Whole life, if you stop paying,
You lose your insurance.
you lose your insurance. It'll lapse. Universal life is more flexible. It's kind of in the middle of pricing. Term is the least expensive, and then whole life's on the other end. And so, again, I think you just have to evaluate and don't overspend on premium. Now, some cautions. I think we need to establish a need and then only buy what you need. So too many people round up when they really should evaluate where they're at, exactly what they need, and pretty much buy at that point. If you need $420,000 based on our calculations, buy $500,000. Don't buy $1 million. And so that's establishing the need would be priority.
I had a friend that called that setting up the next guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, leaving a rich widow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have my ashes put on in a Folgers coffee cup or a mug
can.
thing,
Yeah.
and I'm going to set either on the kitchen counter or on the mantle.
There you go.
So I can watch.
You can watch.
Yep. Don't overspend on the premium. That's the reason people drop life insurance.
Yeah.
They get in a spot, and that's the first thing that goes. Establish the purpose, and then avoid buying units. And I touched on that a minute ago. When you're watching TV late night and Joe Namath comes on and says you can buy life insurance for $1 a day or whatever they are pitching, it's always, here's the catch. I mean, it's per unit. Now, that unit might be $100 unit or it might be $1,000. So if you're paying $25 for a unit,
yeah, you may be only getting $2,500 worth of insurance,
or $1,000 or whatever. And so when you're older, if you manage your finances correctly, you don't need it. Right?
Right.
If you do prepaid burial, if you get a lot of these things under control, what in the world you need life insurance for? Right? So I'm pretty critical of that stuff. Too many seniors get caught up trying to increase their Social Security with those ads, trying to buy life insurance that they don't need from Terry Bradshaw or somebody else that's pitching it. And the cost per $1,000 for what they are selling is astronomical. It's why they're offering it the way they are.
I see.
And so we
Kind
got
of
to
hides the ultimate cost.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be careful about that because they catch people in their weakness when they're older. They've got a health issue, and those no medical requirement type insurance policies. A lot of them are graded, but we can get into all that.
Well, don't they just assume you're in terrible health, and that's what they base their premiums on?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. So if there's no medical questions, that means everybody gets the same rate.
Which is the high one. Yeah.
High rate. And so consider that if you're healthy and you're looking at that. I would just recommend calling our office.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll talk to people for free. You won't even charge them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you call our office, you're going to talk to either myself or somebody on my staff. And all we're going to do, we're going to try to help you establish the need. And we're gonna find the best rate we can, and when you're independent, we offer everything that's available in the marketplace. So when we're trying to help guide young families or older couples into figuring out if they need insurance, then we're going to dive into it pretty deep. But I've also found that when you're older, if you manage your finances correctly, you don't need it.
Yeah, well, sounds good.
Don't spend money on things you don't need.
Hey, before you dive in, write that check or give him your credit card number. Call Bruce at 417-882-1800 and just see if that's really a good thing to do. He can help you run that calculation, figure out exactly what you need, and then see if that policy you're thinking about actually makes sense. So,
absolutely.
Thanks for Rogersville. Thanks for watching us. We'll be back with more content on K-ROG all week long, and we appreciate your support. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.
Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and the Resource Center, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet a particular need of an individual situation.